Well, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
Two Crazy Ketos. So I see you're drinking coffee again.
I am. I'm always drinking coffee. But I've got one of my Wonder Woman mugs. So it's extra delicious.
You love your Wonder Woman.
I do. She's the best.
I'm drinking an Ultima electrolyte replacement because it's so hot out and I was sweating all day. So I was thinking today we would go over the 10 things that really surprised or shocked us that we weren't expecting when we started the keto lifestyle.
There's been a lot of surprises because the keto lifestyle really turns everything that you've learned in the past upside down already.
Right.
So you've got some really strange things that...
Yeah, so some of them are good. Some of them are like surprisingly good things that like kind of shocked me that I wasn't expecting. Mm-hmm. Some of them are kind of... Disheartening, yeah. So I'll let you go first. So number 10.
Okay, so for number 10, I think the biggest one and the one that I'm totally in love with and super happy about is the keto lifestyle doesn't have to negatively impact your budget. Like you can do keto on a budget. I am a super thrifty, and that's being kind.
Right.
I'm a very thrifty woman, and I don't like to basically put a strain on the family budget.
I remember when I first came to you and I said to you that I was going to start this, you kind of looked at me and be like, it better not cost us any money.
That's right.
I think our food budget's actually gone down.
I think it's gone down, but at the bare minimum, it may stay the same. It's just shifting. The categories
and we're
are
eating
shifting.
healthier. Like we went from spending $1 a dozen for eggs to buying free range eggs. Now we never buy them at full price at $6 a dozen. We generally get them for about $4 a dozen, but we just shifted. So we're eating healthier foods than we were before and at no more spending any more money than we were.
But that makes you feel good about yourself, right? Because if I'm like saying to myself, you are worth $4 eggs or $6 eggs, that makes you feel good. If you're like, hey, I'm only worth a $1 box of Ho-Hos.
Yeah.
You know, you don't feel so great about yourself.
Yep. And that kind of leads me into mine, number 9. People look at you weird sometimes when you tell them the diet you're looking on.
It makes me a little sad.
And in a lot of different ways too. I mean, like you're talking about the eggs. I remember the first time I told somebody that I was buying free range eggs and they were like, how much are they? And I'm like, anywhere between $4 and $6 a dozen. And they're like, you're an idiot.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, there was no like diplomacy about it. Or if they see what you have in your cart, they just look at you and they're like, you're going to die.
The dirty looks that you get in the grocery store, like buying a bunch of bacon or buying eggs. Or
like,
I told somebody
mean.
once that, like, my wife and I eat about 4 dozen eggs a week and probably about, 3 pounds of bacon. And they literally said, you're going to die. I actually had somebody close to us tell me that if I continue on this lifestyle, I'm going to get cancer.
Yes. I mean, it's very strange that people feel like that release to basically just say horrible things.
The best advice I can give, just ignore them because you feel better.
Yeah.
And I know that, even listening to all these people, I ended up having like pulled a muscle in my back, but to make sure everything was okay, I ended up going to the doctor and getting blood work done, and they were like, you have some of the best blood work we've seen. So
that was a beautiful confirmation.
Yeah.
So when you feel good, it really won't matter.
So number 7.
Here's a big one for me. Your tastes are going to change. Like maybe you've lived your entire life up to now and you have said, I only like chicken nuggets, I only like macaroni and cheese. There is never going to be a time when I like asparagus or salmon. I was definitely like that. I had tasted anchovies, for instance, once in my life, like on a double dog dare.
Right.
And it was disgusting.
We just recently put them on a pizza.
And it was really tasty. It added a lot of flavor. It was actually really good. And I was surprised, but it was just one more time when my tastes have changed. So don't close yourself off.
And to go with that, I've noticed that my palate is more sensitive Not in a bad way, but in a good way. Whereas we used to put loads of garlic and loads of onions in. I mean, you used to almost eat like an entire Vidalia onion a day.
Yeah.
And now, you know, because those are kind of carby, I mean, we want to use them for flavor.
Yeah.
But you only need a little bit. So instead of using like 4 cloves of garlic, I can use like a half a clove of garlic, and that flavor really comes through.
Okay, so what's the next one? It's number 6.
Number 6. Fat fills you up.
It does.
I quickly realized that fat fills you up. And I challenged, like, even, you know, our kids. It's like, they're like, well, no, that can't be true. And I'm like, think about it. Like, you love bacon. I love bacon.
I love bacon.
There is no way you can sit down and eat, like, 2 pounds of bacon in a sitting. Like, you will be full before you think you can. But as you start going, that fat just starts filling you up, and it satiates you.
Yes.
And that was really a surprise for me. You know, like, I was really shocked that I would be okay eating smaller portions with a lot of that fat, or just how a bulletproof coffee, you know, adding some MCT oil and some butter will fill me up and get me through like several hours.
Yeah, I would figure you need like a lumberjack sized breakfast to accomplish that, and you didn't.
So number 5.
Okay, so kind of continuing with that stream of thought, if you don't eat a big meal or you have intermittent fasting, which is what we practice, you won't die. Like, I'm starving, and when you're fueled by carbs, you do feel like hangry at different intervals in the day. Like, if I don't eat, if I don't get something in my belly right now, I'm gonna freak out. And I never feel that anymore.
I know that there used to be times where you would get up in the morning, and you get up early.
I do.
Like, you get up at 5 a.m. and I would say to you, like, why are you getting up at 5 a.m.? And you're like, because I can't function until I eat.
Yeah.
And our son has to go to school at 6 a.m. So you're like, I have to get up and cook breakfast because I can't even drive him to school unless I eat.
Yeah.
And now you don't eat your first meal until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And I feel great.
Yeah, I'm definitely the same way. Like, I many times notice that I haven't eaten like in 16, 20 hours, and I'm not hungry. It really shocked me.
So what's the next one? I guess number 5.
Number 5.
5 golden rings.
That actually worked out well because our Roomba is yelling error, so you kind of covered up Roomba yelling error. So number 5, this is a really big one for me, and that is the anti-inflammatory effects, side effects, benefits from the keto lifestyle. I shattered my ankle 30 years ago in a car accident, and I've spent the last 30 years on anti-inflammatories and painkillers.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know it was a side effect. I didn't know that I would get like a pain relief living this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I would say like in December or January, I like all of a sudden was like, I haven't taken a painkiller in like 8 months.
Or arthritis medicine.
Or the arthritis medicine. And I was shocking to me. And especially as like someone who officiates high school football and lacrosse, and during lacrosse season, I run 4 or 5 miles in a game. And I just got through last year's football season and this past season's lacrosse season, working anywhere between 10 to 14 games a week. And I never took a painkiller. I never took an arthritis medicine. So that was a huge benefit plus for me that I had no idea was coming. And for that alone, like, I would never leave the ketogenic lifestyle.
I think one of the greatest moments as your wife to be so happy for you, because I do love my husband so much, is when we did not have to renew his disabled parking
handicap sticker. Yeah.
That was the greatest day because because
it expired in December last year.
And we don't need to re-up that because you don't have a problem walking where we need to park that close. Right. It's really a source of joy and pride that we can park at the back of the parking lot and not feel discomfort or I don't have to worry about you. Yeah. Like, that's really beautiful.
So number 4.
For me, this is a big one.
Okay.
Sleep improvement. because I am the type.
You love to sleep.
I love to sleep, and I am the type of person that my sleep is like on a battery, and when that battery goes dead, like that's it. It's lights out. Like I'm not in a good place if I'm overtired.
Sleep is something that I struggle with. I just don't sleep a lot. I go to bed 1 or 2 in the morning and I wake up at 5:30, 6 a.m. But I have noticed, like, I'm not more tired.
No.
But when I do go to sleep, I'm out. Whereas I used to, like, go to sleep and then, like, a half hour later and was kind of always, like, up and down, up and down, and up and down. And now when I'm out, I'm out.
It is lights out. And then you wake up in the morning. And a lot of times it's way earlier than you expect because your energy level is so high. But it is a restful, beautiful, peaceful sleep.
That kind of leads into mine. So, like, number 3 would be energy.
Yes.
Like, I definitely have 10 times more energy than I ever had before. Like, I've always, like, ready to go. And I mean, I've made fun with the kids and said to them, like, how is it that I'm like double your age and I can outrun you and outwork you? And
I find myself trying to pace myself when I'm talking to people because I feel like I come off so intense, like, hey, how's it going?
Right.
I'm so excited, but
I would say people think you've had like 10 cups of coffee, but you probably have had 10 cups.
But I was having 10 cups of coffee before keto.
And you still didn't have any energy.
And I had no energy.
So that would be 3, would be energy. So number 2.
The mental clarity. I love having mental clarity.
Yeah.
That is definitely something that as we've progressed in this diet that we keep tweaking our fat ratio to protein ratio because we want to optimize that mental clarity.
Well, the mental clarity comes from ketones and the ketones come from fat. So obviously the more fat you eat, the more mental clarity you get because you have more ketones, which is kind of like, when, all these companies that sell the exogenous ketones, which you don't need, by the way.
You don't need that.
But they sell them and are like, oh, well, look at, you're going to have so much mental clarity. Well, it's because it's giving you exogenous ketones and you're getting that mental clarity. Now, you're not really in nutritional ketosis when you eat that.
Right.
But bottom line is it comes from the ketones. And so when you eat more fat, your body produces more ketones and then your brain can utilize them more.
I love it. Again, good sleep. You wake up super energized. As soon as you've got your feet on the floor, you are ready to embrace the day and you have a clear plan in your mind. You feel good. I mean, it's such a better quality of life. And,
absolutely. And it's a huge benefit that I was
losing weight is awesome.
Yeah.
But the quality of life,
which is why
is great.
I've made the decision and you've made the decision to just continue living keto. We've both reached the weight that we wanted to. I mean, I've been at the weight and size I wanted to for 8 months now.
That's amazing to maintain it.
And it's staying on. I mean, sometimes I battle to like not lose more weight. Mm-hmm. I'm always like, how do I eat so much and not gain weight?
We just bought all these clothes. We're not buying new clothes.
I know. So, but I think we stay there because of the health benefits that we're experiencing firsthand.
Yeah.
So number 1, I think you would definitely agree with this one, is the cravings go away.
It's so weird.
It is really weird that the cravings go away. Like, people are like, oh, well, I could never give up bread. I could never give up pasta. I could never give up sugar. And I definitely felt that way as someone who, like I said, wasn't a huge sweet person,
right,
but definitely was like potatoes, bread. I mean, it's like I want to go to Outback Steakhouse just for the bread. Like,
I wanted to go for the blooming onion.
Yeah. I mean, I love bread. I mean, I used to make my own bread. I love bread. And I mean, even speaking of bread, when I say the cravings go away, our son just made homemade bread. Like, it took him 28 hours to make it.
It's amazing.
The smell is through the entire house, and not once did I be like, I really need to have a piece of that.
No.
And if you would have come to me a year ago, I would have been like, there's no way I could resist that. I think the biggest thing for me is potatoes. Like, I used to live for breakfast potatoes, like going out to a diner, a little hole-in-the-wall diner, and getting just like hash brown potatoes. And I think it really occurred to me how cravings go away where we went to a conference.
Yes,
in
that was it for me.
February. And we walked past, they had this big buffet of breakfast
Beautiful
out.
spread of
and
hospitality.
it was free. And I walked past and they have these giant tray of hash brown potatoes with peppers and onions. And I was like, yep, not interested.
Yeah.
And a year ago, I would have like been devouring, like that would have been breakfast. Like just a giant bowl of potatoes. So the cravings go away really shocked me.
And it's very nice not to be a slave to your senses and to this food.
Mm-hmm.
So like we can go to the movies and I can smell the beautiful smell of popcorn popping,
But
right?
it doesn't make you want popcorn.
But it doesn't make me want popcorn. I can just enjoy it as like, this is the potpourri of the movie theater is buttered popcorn smell. But it's not like I start to feel something in my stomach and my brain going like, I've got to have that, go get it. I don't care what it costs.
Right.
If you could reason with it, you'd know, like, I don't want to pay $20 for a bag of popcorn, right?
But they got you. That's why they
got
pop
you.
that and everything else. And you know what? I'm even going to give a bonus one to go kind of along with that before we finish up. And that is, if you're worried about like your cravings for like sweets or cake or like, oh my gosh, I never get to eat cake again.
Yes.
It's not true.
No.
And that is something else like that you get dessert. You eat dessert every single day.
Every single day.
And it doesn't exceed your carbs. It doesn't exceed the amount of calories that you want to eat. Like, there are a lot of alternatives that you could make low carb using, you know, erythritol, stevia, monk fruit, almond flour, protein powders.
We are
where
living...
you can make almost the same thing. I mean, we've even made desserts where we gave it to the kids and they did not know that it was sugar-free, bread-free, and they had no idea.
We're living in a really amazing time where not only do we have access to a lot of amazing foods, but you also have the blessing of all of these people across the internet who come up with recipes, people like, you know, Keto Connect and
they share them for free.
And they share them for free, which is really kind. You have a lot of recipes on Pinterest and new things coming out all the time to help you optimize your keto experience.
Yeah, and for the most part, they're not like really weird ingredients. So maybe I think our next video will be like the must-haves in a keto pantry.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of things that are nice to have.
Yeah.
But there's some things I would say are must-haves.
Just so that you can do the basics of some of the recipes out there. So you could have a bread, you could have a dessert, something easy.
So, and that's a good place to end today's video.
I love it.
Yeah, so they'll have to tune in and watch the next video to see the must-haves. So you got to come back. So make sure you favorite, like, and subscribe to our channel.
Thanks, guys. Have a good afternoon.
Bye.